Scrappy people, Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a layout using the brand new Citrus Twist Kits Travelogue collection for 2023. And today I'm going to be scrapbooking these photos of my husband and I renting those little motorized scooters to go the last mile of our long journey by foot. So we were wandering Nashville and we got pretty tired at one point and we had a long day ahead of us. So we walked past some of those motorized scooters and we were like, what the heck, let's try it. So these are those photos. It was the first time we'd ever done that. So it was really fun and interesting and terrifying at the same time. I actually only had him snap a photo like once we had parked them. I wish that we had a photo of us on them, but of course that would have been a lot of effort that I was not able to concentrate on while I was also concentrating on navigating on these scooters in heels. So it is what it is. I took that photo, or he took that photo of us, and then I grabbed another photo off of the internet of these scooters to sort of complement the story, because in the photo the scooters aren't that great anyway. Like the photo of the scooters isn't that great, so I needed a little bit more. So I am going to use this sort of map-ish paper. I thought that was perfect for this story. And then on the other side, I really loved this sort of handwritten paper as well. So I'm going to use that as my background. It also matches that card that I have pulled as a mat on the other side of the page. And then of course I'm going to pull out all of the orange for this page because the scooters were orange. So I'm going to make a pocket for this card. And on the front of the pocket is going to be the scooter picture, but it doesn't need to be as long as I cut it. I was going to make it a long pocket, and then I realized that if I made it too long, the field notes part wouldn't stick out of the top, so I trimmed it down. And now I'm going to use red line tape eventually to create my pocket, but first I need to build up a little bit more. Like there's not enough going on here. I wasn't quite sure the direction I wanted to go with this page, like the style of it, but it ends up being really blocky, and you'll see in a second. And actually it is pretty cool. It's a little bit different than my normal style, a little less flowy and freeform. I'm not exactly a freeform scrapbooker, but this is a little bit more blocky than what I normally do, and it turns out really fun. So I'm going to start by backing this journaling card and pocket on another sheet of orange paper because I felt like there was just not enough delineation between the journal card and the background, and I just thought that it could use another pop of color since there was so much color on the other side of the page. So I thought another version of orange, like this peachy color, would be perfect. So I'm making sure that fits in there perfect. You trim it down. All right, so now that I have this sort of pocket on pocket looking thing, I'm gonna start going through and adding in some embellishments. And when I do that is when I start making the right-hand side of this page pretty blocky. So I'm going to add my holes because I always forget, and then I am punching through things I don't wanna punch through. So add the holes first. I think I'm finally learning that lesson 2 years into 3 years, 2 years or 3 years into my Life Crafted journey. That little tag came on the front of the Travelogue collection. I thought it was really cute, so it's going to go right there behind our photo. And then I really wanted to use this city vibes sort of, it's almost like a Polaroid, like a tiny Polaroid. So when I did that, it takes up so much space on this page. I was like, well, what if we just started blocking this out instead of trying to overlap things? And so overlapping things is kind of how I always scrapbook. So you can see I'm already doing it on the other side, but on this side I end up not overlapping things, and I think it turns out pretty cool. So you can see all of those little pieces fit together really well, but now I'm starting to have a lot of words going on this page, which is always a hazard of scrapbooking when it comes to me. I love my words, but I do have to be careful and not put too many on there. So now I need to pull in some of these embellishments that are like not wordy, which I'm not quite there yet in my brain. But you can see I have a lot of non-wordy embellishments up in the corner, but it feels like flowers aren't really making sense to me, and the globe doesn't really make too much sense to me either, just because we were in Nashville, which is not somewhere we we had to go very far to get to. So I'm going to pull in some embellishments from other places, other Citrus Twist collections that I have in my stash to sort of fill up the non-wordy bit vibe of this page. But first I need to put everything down. I love, love, love that city vibes embellishment. And then absolutely no regrets. The world is waiting for the stories you will tell. I thought that was cute, and it was square, so it worked out really well. And now we're looking pretty blocky, lots of squares going on. So in addition to, needing non-word embellishments, I also need some non-straight edges. So that's kind of what my brain is considering as I'm putting all of these things down, that what I need to finish this page in a way that will be visually happy to me. Okay, so I need to put this down, and I need to put this down. So even though this page is already, or the left-hand side of this page is already overlapping and a little bit different, we're going to pull both of these pages together with the way that I embellish both sides of the page. So you can see I got a lot of straight edges on both sides of the page, even though there is overlapping embellishments on the left-hand side. So once I get this word strip down, which is obviously taking a minute, I needed to pull in some of that light blue as well that was on the other side. So that was kind of what I was thinking on this side. Okay, so now I got all of my words, all of my straight edges. So now I need to move on to non-straight edges. And you can see I've put, I say that and then I add another straight edge, but you can see I've put away a lot of the embellishments, and I've sort of piled up everything over there on the left or on the right hand side that I don't think I'm going to use. And then I'm going to use these plus signs, which I understand are straight edges, but they are also not. Like, they have spiky sort of edges, so it adds just a little bit of something, like a different shape. And I'm going to put this frame underneath my photo just because I felt like the cluster itself wasn't quite white enough. There was some weird white space just because of how the paper is designed behind there. I had some weird white space that I needed to sort of detract from, and so that I could go forward and embellish on top of it. But of course, I had a hard time with this. Squish it under there. I cut it just a little bit too short to fit correctly up there, so I was having a hard time. Okay, so now you can see here is where I'm going to pull in some arrows from some old Citrus Twist chipboard. I'm going to add one on either side. And then I'm going to add them in this sort of blocky structure. Oh, I guess I add a heart up here. I'm going to add them in sort of this blocky structure so that it takes away, or doesn't take away, but like adds to this sort of grid layout that I have going on up here with different shapes so that it's not all squares or all straight edges. I'm going to add this circle. I actually end up putting this somewhere completely different once I put it down. Actually, once I've taken my photos, I end up putting it somewhere completely different than where it ends up right here because I kind of forgot about it. I'm going to add this other camera here because it's orange and I like it, so I'm going to put it right on top of this map. So I'm just going through some older Citrus Twist designs. Everything always matches with Citrus Twist. They use the same sort of color palettes in different variations so that all of their product always goes together so that you can be confident pulling from older product with your newer product and it's still going to match. So these are some black and white hearts. I decided to add those in because I had some black on the other side of the page. We're both wearing black and there wasn't quite enough black on the page to feel like the black parts weren't standing out too much. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is add in these plus signs, and I'm just incorporating it into that grid design over there and adding it to the like overlapping parts over here. But also they gave the overlapping side a little bit more structure like the grid side, so it brings both sides of the page together so that they're both sort of grid-like and also overlapping at the same time. It was really fun to pull this together, to do things a little bit differently, to change the way that I sort of approach pages. I really enjoyed it. Plus, I always love travel collections and Citrus Twist travel collections, so it was just the perfect combination to explore and have fun. So That is it for this page. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. And I will see you next time. Thank you.